So it's my turn. Good day, everyone, especially to our teacher, Ma'am. I am Johara Dipatuan Lidasan. So, oh my God, nangangagot yung puso ko. So, in my part, we will tackle about synthetic detergent. So, I knew, guys, that you all familiar with this topic because it is one of our daily use, no, sa pagliligo, paglalaba, and paglilinis, etc. No, basta sa paglilinis. And it is it is very common cleansing agent in our daily lives. So, when we say synthetic detergents, are simply like soaps, cleaning agent developed from petrochemicals. No? So, we're going to look at the different types and what each of them is useful. So, firstly, surfactants and salt. Soaps made with fats and oils were the main cleaning agent until the 1940s. So, using animal fats to make soaps or vegetable to make soaps was the major process until about the 1940s. So, during the 1940s, synthetic detergents were developed. So, when oil became, a useful thing that people knew how to deal with, we started developing all sorts of different chemicals from it. These are detergents can clean even in hard water. So, the major disadvantage of soap was that if our water supply wasn't very good and we had a very hard water supply, we couldn't use soap. Whereas now with these new detergents, we found that we could use them even in hard water. Today, they have replaced older soaps to a large extent. So, we don't really see soap being used outside of maybe some specialty areas like just personal hygiene and things. We see synthetic detergents being used as cleansing agents pretty much everywhere. So, alkyl benzene sulfonates. So, complex name, but most modern synthetic detergents are alkylbenzene sulfonates. So, alkybenzenes are organic compounds made out of benzene and long alkanes. So, as you can see, guys, there is a hexagon below. So, it is our benzene ring and it's attached to long hydrocarbon chain, right? So, we should remember benzene from production of materials. It helps to make the styrene monomer, okay? So, it is also known as carcinogen as well. So, both of these are readily available in the petroleum refining industry. So, long hydrocarbon chains and benzene rings pretty commonplace in petrochemical or petrochemistry. So what we do is we have to test out what we have represent as our alkane chain that are, and it's our benzene ring. Okay, so no need to worry, this is just a chain here, and what we do is we add it to sulfuric acid. So we treat it with sulfuric acid to form what we call an artificial fatty acid. So here we have our artificial acid here. So that's long hydrocarbon chain R with a benzene ring, a sulfate group, and H, and we also get H2O as well. Okay, so this is the more structural version of that diagram. So we've got lots of cis this sulfonylic acid group, and this is our sodium. So a typical example is sodium dodecylbenzene sulfonoate. So this is our sodium dodecylbenzene sulfonoate detergent. Structure of synthetic detergents. So like soap anions, synthetic detergent molecules have a hydrophobic and a hydrophilic end. So just exactly like, so we've got the water hating region and this water loving region, or this water love in your head. This lets them bind with both grease and water. So the action is similar. It allows them to bind to grease and water. However, the anion does not form an insoluble precipitate with magnesium or calcium ions. So, because it's synthetic, it doesn't form magnesium or calcium precipitates, which means it can work in hard water. So, let's proceed to the different types of detergent. Now, the thing is, not all of them are anionic, and not all synthetic detergents use anions as cleaning agents. We have other types as well. So there are 3 types of synthetic detergents. We have cationic detergents. So that sort of implies it's got positive head. And we have anionic detergent, which is what I just mentioned. And the last one is the non-ionic detergents. And we will go throughout what each of them is in a moment. Anionic detergents. In an ionic detergents, which we are used to, the anion of the detergent does not work. So they are used in dishwashing liquids, hand soaps, so those liquid soaps that they advertise all the time, and toothpastes. So they work really well for cleaning things that absorb a lot of water, particularly things like cotton, where they absorb a lot of water. These are quite useful and they're quite sudsing, so they produce a lot of bubbles and foam a lot. Cationic detergents. So in cationic detergents, the cation binds both water and grease. In cationic detergents, instead of having a negatively charged head, you've got a positively charged, and this allows them to bind with the grease in the same way as the anionic one, but it still allows them to bind with water, just the opposite end of the water because it's positively charged. The positively charged end is usually an ammonium salt. So it's usually some kind of ammonium compound, and they are used for slightly different purposes to anionic detergents, simply because they're constructed differently. Glass, china, and fibers tend to acquire a slight negative charge over time. so that little staticky charge tends to accumulate on some fibers. This means that cationic detergents stick to them and form a waxy coating, which is sometimes good and sometimes bad. This is bad for glass and china because it makes them slippery. So let's see, we've got a cup. It tends to build up all negative charge, so all soap molecules tend to stick to it, and that makes them waxy and greasy. And that's bad for glass because we don't want to drop them. However, it's good for fabrics and hair conditioners because by removing those negative charges, it tends to make them feel a little bit softer and a little bit less harsh. So they use this fabric softeners a lot. And it is also mildly antiseptic. So they tend to kill some bacteria types, and they're used in hair conditioners, as I mentioned, to get rid of that negative charge. And we have nappy washes, fabric softeners, and some domestic disinfectants. So it's very free, so slightly different applications compared to anionic detergents. The last one is the non-ionic detergents. So non-ionic detergents contain an oxygen atom joining two long nonpolar groups. So basically it forms hydrogen bonds with the water. The oxygen atom forms hydrogen bonds with water molecules, and the nonpolar groups bind to grease, obviously. This means that the detergents can clean objects without ionizing, and so there is no extra ions lying around. Non-ionic detergents do not lather as much as other detergents. So the non-ionic do not lava very much simply because they're charged less. So this makes them useful for dishwashers and front-loading washing machines. So if you've ever seen a front-loading washing machine, it just kind of swirls around the water, just kind of stays there. And you don't really want a lot of sudsing, otherwise you'll get that chemical situation of having foam everywhere throughout your laundry. So they can also be added to other detergents to reduce the amount of lather. So you can use this to kind of reduce the lathering of other detergents. Non-ionic detergents are not as irritating as other detergents, simply because they're less charged, so they don't draw as much water away. And I use dishwashing fluid, car shampoos, paints, and cosmetics. So this concludes our talk on basically what different synthetic detergents are. So we've looked at what an ionic, cationic, and non-ionic surfactants are, and what their applications are. So that's all my part. Hopefully you've learned from this, and thank you for listening, and God bless. Bye.